Wow. Wow, man. I mean, at the end of the day, this is probably the most shocking pay-per-view I think I've ever seen in my life, man. I mean, from start to finish, just the sheer insanity of it, right? The unpredictability and the simple fact that they actually had an unexpected outcome that, depending on how the booking is over the next month and a half, we'll talk about this. This might be a good decision. It might not be, but it might be a good decision. I think this was a massive shock factor choice to have John Cena officially turn heel inside with the final Diddy, or the final boss, The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, because of how awful this Mania 41 season is, I think they had to do this for the shock value. It was a great moment, don't get me wrong, unexpected and great drama, great story, all that stuff. But the fact is that Cody is the worst champion of all time. So he needed this. You know what I'm saying? He needs the elevation of a guy like a Cena and The Rock, arguably the two greatest of all time. He needs them in order to elevate his story, because his story is bland and stale, and it's absolute and utter garbage. You know what I'm saying? So in order to elevate that and provide some much needed energy into this Mania season, this is the best possible option they could have done. Will it age well? I don't know. It was an exciting segment though. But yeah, just a couple other things as well. The crowd was absolute garbage tonight. Apparently this stadium holds like 40 to 50,000 people, I think, or 45,000 to 50,000. And in the graphic, I think they said they sold like 38,000 tickets. So I mean, at this point, it's absolutely over. You know what I'm saying? It's absolute garbage. But anyways, the thing is with this decision to have this Cena heel turn, this is obviously not only just a desperation move, right? But it frankly shows us 100% that there is literally no other option, right? You have no other options. What was Cody Rhodes going to do if Cena didn't win the Chamber, right? He's going to feud with who? Drew McIntyre? You know what I'm saying? Logan Paul? Like, it wasn't going to work. So they had to do this desperation move because Mania 41 season has been an absolute monstrosity. Everyone's complaining about it. Your viewership is tanking. SmackDown had record low viewership a few weeks ago. Raw's viewership is declining. Fans are complaining, like I said. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Triple H acknowledged this in the press conference after the show, which I saw bits and pieces of before making this video. He went out there and basically was like, do you guys think we're in Mania season now? Trying to give a snarky remark that all the fans that were complaining were wrong. No, we weren't. This Mania season still sucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you had one great moment tonight, but let's see if it's great going forward, right? Triple H is the type of guy, right? Like, if you're on a basketball team, right? Someone will chuck like a 25-foot shot while contested. It's a terrible shot, but it happens to luckily bank in and go in off the glass, and they start celebrating after. That's the type of booker and guy that Triple H is, you know what I'm saying, running this company. And he does bad decisions, and if they manage to work 10% of the time, then 10% of the time he celebrates it, right, super heavily, and just forgets about the 90% that he's been booking awful for a year now, since Mania 40. But just needed to slide that in there and basically get that point in. Also, with these chamber matches, none of the chamber matches literally had like any notable moments or notable spots inside of these matches. And on both of these matches, you can make the case that 3 or 4 competitors in each the men and the women's chambers literally did nothing. They were just there to fill up airtime. That's it. They had no good spots, no good moves, and were barely involved in the events of the match that actually mattered and that were actually good parts of the match. So that's just an interesting thing I needed to point out. The chambers were a little bit underwhelming in most aspects as far as I'm personally concerned, but they weren't bad. They were still decent matches overall, but they had some flaws that made them not great. But let's break down the show. Starting off, we had the Women's Elimination Chamber, in which we got the return of Jade Cargill, finally. You know what I'm saying? Finally, The Rock has come back. You know what I'm saying? So Jade Cargill is officially back, and she had a really, really good entrance and a good heel turn, okay? Now, like I said, the crowd was garbage, so that's that, right? You know what I'm saying? The crowd sucks. But Jade Cargill basically comes back. She goes in, and it looks like she's going to fight Liv Morgan, because, the storyline has been Liv Morgan beat her up and, took her out of commission or whatever. But then she goes and beats the crap out of Naomi. You know what I'm saying? Absolute just swerve there. I knew that she was going to do this. I predicted it already, right? I knew she was going to attack Naomi out of, between her, Bianca, and Liv. And she basically does this. Bianca looks upset the whole time. She's like shocked that all this is happening. And Jade Cargill just absolutely beats the crap out of Naomi. You know what I'm saying? She what's it called? She threw her into the cage. She threw her against the chains. You know what I'm saying? She absolutely bro-kicked her through one of the cage doors. It was crazy. And then she slammed the cage door on Naomi's face and just beat the living crap out of her, and then proceeded to walk away afterwards, right? So that was basically what it was. Jade Cargill clearly knows that Naomi is probably the one who attacked her, and that's the situation with that. This was a pretty good heel turn and a good surprise return that I actually enjoyed. So, you know what I'm saying? That was pretty much that. This was easily the best part of this match, because quite frankly, this match was bland and very forgettable. Bianca Belair then entered, and she was upset, right? And then she got beat up by Liv Morgan for a second. Nothing really happened. Then Roxanne Perez came in, and like I've been saying, she was a big fish in a little pond in NXT, and and now she's a little fish in a big pond, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very obvious. There's no legitimate way that, like, Roxanne Perez is a believable, heel or face at this point. Maybe as a face, right, as an underdog, but as a heel, it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And so she basically goes out there. She doesn't really do much of anything in this match. Bayley did absolutely nothing here. She was pretty mediocre here as well. And then obviously Naomi got taken out by the Jade Cargill situation, so she didn't do anything either. This match basically consisted around the fact that the final three of Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Bianca did a very solid job. Liv Morgan took a lot of spots with Bianca doing that big hair whip, which was clearly phoned in noise. I don't know why we're pretending like that was a natural smack noise. I mean, maybe it was, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's not something happening behind the scenes, but I doubt it, right? You know what I'm saying? I really do doubt it. This was a pretty forgettable, you know what I'm saying, situation that happened with that. But then after this, Alexa Bliss and Liv and Bianca basically had a bunch of good counters, good reversals, good false finishes, and because of this, once Alexa Bliss finally got to her point where she was getting eliminated, I thought it was dumb. Her getting rolled up and then Liv Morgan grabs Bianca's hair for, like, I don't even know why she grabbed it, but apparently that was a situation. She grabbed it and then did the roll up. It was kind of unfortunate and disappointing. I wish Alexa Bliss had a different way of going out than that, but it's expected. Then we had Bianca Belair, who basically, she was about to hit the Oblivion on her. Liv was about to hit the Oblivion, and then after she was about to hit the Oblivion, Bianca countered, then Liv countered her, hit her with like a code breaker, which Bianca literally fell into the ropes, still countered the Oblivion again, and then hit the KOD, and boom, that was it. Bianca Belair, as expected, is your Elimination Chamber winner. This was the only plausible option to get out of this with, which wasn't my predictions. Naomi would get beat up by Jade, and it would leave Bianca open to win the Chamber and have a singles run as world champion eventually after beating Rhea at Mania, which is what exactly should happen. But I mean, we'll talk about that at a later date in time. After Bianca goes to the stage, we had Rhea Ripley come out and do a standoff, and then Io Sky walks in as well. Obviously, Io Sky is not winning this match on Raw. I think we already know that. I don't know why they're saying, oh, it might be Rhea or Io. It might be Rhea or Io. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Rhea's going to win, and it's going to be Rhea versus Bianca for the World Championship, and that's the best possible match they can do with the best potential story they could have done with all the competitors in this match in Rhea Ripley. So there you have that. Then we have the absolutely forgettable tag match, which was Trish Stratus and Tiffany versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I have nothing to say about this. The crowd was dead for it. This is a SmackDown match. You understand what I'm saying? This is a SmackDown match. The SmackDown last night was in Canada. You could have just done this last night as the main event or as the opening match. Like, there's nothing to talk about here, right? This is I'm so tired of PLEs giving us SmackDown matches. You know what I'm saying? And Raw matches, right? And NXT main event level matches, dark match level matches. It's time to give us matches that actually have a story and have meaning and have importance, because if not, we're just going to continue to get absolute garbage over and over again. So, there you have it. You know what I'm saying? This match was forgettable. Tiffany and Trish Stratus obviously won this match, and there's nothing that's going to come from this. So, whatever. Then we had a bunch of absolute nonsense ads and a bunch of 15 minutes of literal just air, just segment, video, ad, a Pat McAfee promo for like Stephanie McMahon's incoming podcast coming soon. It's like, dude, what are we doing? So they wasted our time there. And then we got to what I believe was the best in-ring match of the night. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, as I expected and as I predicted, was the best in-ring match of the night, okay? There was a bunch of good spots here. Like I've been saying, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, even though the story going into it is uninteresting and boring, and it still is, the in-ring work and the chemistry they have, plus you combine that with weapons and spots and stuff like that, this was always going to be an entertaining match with zero story that matters whatsoever, but the entertainment was going to be there. There was double table spots. Sami basically put Kevin Owens through multiple different tables in the arena, right, throwing him out into the crowd and stuff like that. That was cool. And then you also had, what's his name? Kevin Owens hit the brain buster. His brain buster looks great. He was hitting that. He hit it through a table as well. And then there was a really athletic spot that Sami Zayn did where Sami was standing on top of the ring post. KO pushed him over, and then Sami quickly flipped over and fell through both of the double tables stacked on top of each other. So that was pretty cool. The Blue Thunder Bomb as well that Sami Zayn was hitting. He hit it on a barbed wire chair. Obviously, it was like that Party City, you know what I'm saying, Halloween barbed wire, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't real barbed wire, of course, right? But he did that. But the problem with this match, I'd say, was the overselling. Sami and KO, right, are selling these neck injuries and these back injuries and all these other injuries. But the problem is that while they're selling these injuries, they're immediately no-selling it 2 seconds later. Like, Sami will be grabbing his neck and his back and his head, and then 2 seconds later, he's no-selling and then proceeding to do a move of his own. So it's like, is he hurt or is he not hurt, right? It just gets very inconsistent. And then Michael Cole's yelling, oh my gosh, Kevin Owens is dead. Like, dude, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just shut up, But that's pretty much the situation with that. Then after this, the refs are like trying to stop the match that's unsanctioned. It makes absolutely no sense. It was very awkward and weird. And then when they got to the outside with Sammy and KO basically double powerbombed Sammy on the apron, and then Sammy like no-sold the first one, got back up, and then got powerbombed again. And then after he got powerbombed, he basically got thrown back in the ring, and I think KO basically just pinned him, or maybe he hit one more powerbomb or stunner, and then that was it. Kevin Owens ended up winning this match. After Kevin Owens won this match, he then tried to pile drive Sami Zayn like on the exposed concrete outside the ring. And when he tried to do this, we get the return of the Viper, Randy Orton, man. You know what I'm saying? Randy Orton is officially back, the legend himself. And then he basically comes out, has a little brawl with Kevin Owens, and ends up RKOing him, right? It's great to see Orton back. Not exactly sure why they waited this long. They could have done heel Orton versus face Cody, but I guess they have an idea for another big superstar to turn heel. You know what I'm saying? So there you have that, of course. Randy Orton basically, hit the RKO, and he was about to go for the signature punt to the head, bro. I was genuinely excited for this, but unfortunately, it didn't happen, right? The security guards came in randomly after an unsanctioned match, as I've mentioned before, and then after they tried to do this, basically Randy Orton was stopped and couldn't hit the punt, and then KO scurried off and ran away, and that was the end of the segment. Good to see Orton back. We're probably going to get Orton versus KO at Mania 41, and that's pretty much going to be the situation there. We'll just have to see how it's booked and how it's laid out. And then we had the men's chamber. Hot take, I don't really think this should be a hot take, but outside of the Cena and Punk stuff, which was counted for like maybe 5 total minutes in the match, everything else was boring, forgettable, and just straight up bad. Now, first of all, Drew McIntyre is done. He is an official jobber, and I don't want to hear anything else otherwise, right? This dude literally loses match after match after match. He got pinned clean by Jey Uso. He got pinned clean by Jimmy Uso. He struggled to beat Sami Zayn clean. And then following that, right, we got a situation now where he gets rolled up by Damian Priest. A unmitigated jobber just pins Drew McIntyre clean in the middle of the ring. And now Drew McIntyre is officially done. He's wasted our time. He's the first person eliminated in the match, so that's that, right? And then Damian Priest got eliminated by Logan Paul. Then Logan Paul got GTS by Punk, and then it was Rollins, Punk, and Cena. And at this point, the Punk and Cena spots were great, right? I thought that, for their ages and their situations of kind of being both washed in the ring, all of theirs, they moved a little bit slower, obviously. They were a little bit winded. But for the most part, the spots and the counters and, the vintage roll through AA that John Cena does, this was all great fan service. The banter, the handshakes, them hugging it out, right? And knowing that this is their final chance, their final stand at getting to Mania. This was very well done, and I personally enjoyed this. Like I said, this only accounted for 5 minutes of the total match, which was probably like 30 to 40 minutes, because the first the first portion they interacted was in the middle of the match, and then the last portion they interacted was obviously in the last bits of the match. Now, after they fight each other for a little bit in the middle, Seth Rollins throws John Cena right through a pod, which was a crazy spot for Cena to take, and then Seth Rollins gets jobbed out. Seth Rollins at Raw on Netflix lost after taking 4 GTSs or 3 GTSs, and then at Raw on Netflix he hit Punk with 2 or 3 pedigrees, a couple stomps, and a GTS of his own, and a superplex, and Punk still won anyways, because CM Punk is booked as Superman at this point. But Seth Rollins again gets jobbed out by Punk and gets pinned. It's absolutely over for this guy. It just is. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to say about this anymore. I think, did Rollins get pinned by Punk or by Cena? I forget, but he took a GTS and was knocked out again, so there you have it. Seth Rollins is basically over, and Seth Rollins, as CM Punk and Cena are the only ones left, they brawl it out again, have a good little sequence. Rollins curb stomps Punk and confirms that he will not be making it to WrestleMania 41. Rollins' dream is for Punk to not make Mania 41, so Rollins made sure of that, so that's that. Now, the problem with this whole entire situation is the fact that we're probably going to get Rollins, Punk, and Roman Reigns now in that triple threat rumored to happen at Mania 41. I think this is dumb. I really do. Roman and Rollins is a much better feud. You could actually build that. It has legs, to last until Mania. But Punk and Rollins is just the same monotonous stuff. And when Roman Reigns is not even going to be there to carry his end of the triple threat feud, right? Because he's not even going to show up, I think, for another 3 weeks until his next scheduled date to show up. It's over. Right? There's nothing that, what is Roman Reigns literally going to be doing for the next 3 weeks? Nothing. So I don't understand this logic. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're doing a triple threat when Rollins versus Roman is easily a better story and makes more sense to finally get that done before a potential Rock versus Roman story next year, right? So it just doesn't work for me. I don't like the idea of a triple threat. And also, Roman doesn't have any real beef with Punk, and Punk has no real beef with Roman. This is a Rollins situation only, and it's really that simple as that. It's Rollins and Punk, and then Rollins has beef with Roman. So because of that, we're now getting a triple threat for no reason. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like that idea. And then we had a decent sequence, obviously, where Cena basically pulled Punk back after he was curb stomped and put him into the STF, right? And he like actually started choking him with the STF. And once he started choking him with the STF, I literally said out loud, this dude's going to turn heel and take The Rock's offer. And of course, later in the night, literally the next segment was Cody Rhodes officially coming out, right? Cody Rhodes comes out, he daps up John Cena, you know what I'm saying? They give each other a hug, they point at the Mania sign, and they're all basically talking it out, right? John Cena, by the way, won the Chamber. I don't think I mentioned that, but obviously you guys know. He won the Chamber, right? So John Cena won the Chamber, which was a good outcome. I'm down for either him or Punk. I don't think Cena deserved it because he hasn't been showing up on his final year tour. However, his retirement tour, I should say. However, we finally got to the situation, right, where after Cody and Cena are basically glazing each other for like 8 minutes straight, the final Diddy, the final boss, comes out to the ring. The Rock comes out with Travis Scott. Travis Scott was blazed out of his mind, burning sage and incense in the air. This dude had no idea where he was at. I can almost guarantee you that, right? Travis Scott has officially lost it. But Travis Scott comes out with The Rock. The Rock walks down to the ring. The Rock then proceeds to grab Cody's face like he did on SmackDown, right? He's like, listen, my brother, you know what I'm saying? I need your soul. And he's like, dang it, I need your soul. I need you, I need that belt, and I need your soul, and I need you to be my champion. So now I open my arms so you can embrace your brother, The Rock. And then Cody shockingly says, go F yourself, with no blur, none of that stuff, no beeping, none of that, bro. They straight up didn't blur it. He literally says the words, go F yourself, on live television, bro. And or not television, it's on streaming, I should say, right? Cody says, go F yourself. Cena's clapping in the background. He's like, yes, this is awesome. This is great. You know what I'm saying? And then Cody Rhodes hugs John Cena, and everyone's like, yeah, this is great. We're going to get Cena and Cody. And then John Cena gives a death stare, bro. A vile death stare to the final boss. And then The Rock does like the finger to the throat thing that he did at Bad Blood, bro. Cena gives a death stare. Rock stares back at him. And Cena turns heel, bro, and hits a low blow. John Cena, after how many 2+ decades now, this dude has officially turned heel, and they beat the crap out of Cody Rhodes in that ring. John Cena hits him with like the watch that Cody gifted to The Rock last year. He hits Cody in the head with that you know what I'm saying, with that watch, and then Cody Rhodes gets hit with his own belt. Cena rips his shirt off and then just destroys Cody Rhodes, you know what I'm saying, stomping him. And Travis Scott even hit Cody once or twice and like held him up as The Rock was beating him down with the Cody Rhodes soul belt, right? And that was pretty much the situation. They made that boy bleed, boy. You know what I'm saying? Got them goosebumps, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, The Rock basically beat the crap out of him with the belt. Cena beat the crap out of him with Cody's belt and with the watch on his hand, punching him in the neck. And then Cena, I should say, holds the WWE Championship up in this shot where The Rock is sitting in the background and Travis Scott is sitting in the background. And as Cody's sitting there bleeding, bro, you get this final shot where Cena's got his foot on Cody's head, and that's it. It is absolutely crazy. Insane swerve, right? But the thing is I'm hesitant to say that this is a great heel turn. Now, obviously, in the moment, the segment itself is a great heel turn, but I'm saying, how will this heel turn be great going forward, right? Because you now have to book a situation where John Cena is going to have to stay compelling, stay consistent, and actually be able to elevate Cody's championship reign, right? All while not even being there consistently. Because his next scheduled date to show up, I think, is in 2 or 3 weeks on Raw. And now it's like, okay, well, what's going to happen in the meantime? You're going to have a situation where Cody Rhodes just has to come out and cut nonsense promos waiting for Cena or Rock to show up. That's all we got, right? It's just not, it's not sustainable in my personal opinion. But the segment itself, the shock factor, the drama, the insanity of it, right? The brutality of it. This was a great all-time great wrestling segment. It just was, you know what I'm saying? It was shocking. It had everything you needed. But like I said, what's next? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, does this even make sense? At WrestleMania 40, The Rock literally stood face-to-face with John Cena and rock-bottomed him. He rock-bottomed John Cena. How do we get from John Cena getting rock-bottomed in the middle of the ring and proceeding to help Cody win that championship, all for John Cena to come back 9 to 10 months later, and now he's turning on Cody Rhodes and beating the crap out of him and siding with the guy who rock-bottomed him in the middle of the ring in order to win the championship that he just helped Cody win, right? That doesn't work narrative-wise unless you book your way out of it and say Cena just wants to get the 17th belt and he'll do anything to get it and solidify that, right? It's something good. It's probably going to be something along those lines, but the fact is that there needed to be some sort of other way to get this done. This isn't sustainable, and I don't really think it makes any sense as of right now. This can obviously be turned into something special, but as of now, I don't know about this one. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, Jim. I don't know. Great segment, amazing segment, but where do you go now? The Rock ain't showing up consistently. He may not even show up again for some months, right? John Cena isn't going to be showing up consistently, and they have to build this feud for WrestleMania, So I don't know. And John Cena already is a megastar. He's won championships before. He won the Chamber by himself. He didn't need any interference or any of that stuff from The Rock. So how in the world now does he accomplish all that on his own? And instead of staying virtuous and staying humble and being himself, hustle, loyalty, and respect, he goes hustle, loyalty, and disrespect, So again, I don't really know what to say about this right now, man. I truly am lost for words. I wish I could add more other than the fact that I just don't think it makes sense currently constructed and we have to wait for the booking, cliche things, right? But at the end of the day, that is the truth. It's cliche. We don't know what's going to happen next. It doesn't really make sense as currently constructed, but dang, that segment was awesome. Okay, we've been looking at Cena for years now to turn heel potentially, and the fact that it's finally happening in his final retirement tour year is interesting. It's an epic moment, but it's also questionable. It doesn't make sense. What are we going from here? What are we doing from here, right? So there's a lot of different things to break down with it, but overall, I think it was done for shock factor at the end of the day, right? This WrestleMania 41 season had record low viewership on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. You have Raw viewership is heavily declining. People are complaining all over the internet about this Mania build season. So I feel like the best potential option was to have this heel turn in order to reignite that fire and give us something new and unique and crazy. And that's exactly what they had to do here. And so they had John Cena turn heel to give us that sort of energy jolt and that unpredictability for this Mania season. But the problem is that was it a desperation move in order to get some hype back temporarily just for it to fade away? Now it's all on the execution, and I don't know if Triple H has that in his bag to book this accordingly. So we'll see what happens with this. However, as a totality PLE, I don't know if I would say this is good. I don't think it's good. It's more like solid, right? The opening chamber match was decent, you know what I'm saying? Pretty forgettable until the last three of them, had their stuff. None of the chamber matches tonight had any, special moments like I mentioned before. They didn't have any special marquee amazing moments, you know what I mean? And I feel like that took from each of the chamber matches. I don't think that everyone in each chamber match was really utilized to do anything. And I know that that's not how every chamber match works, but like I said earlier, everyone in the chamber should at least have a chance to do something. The fact that barely anyone in any of these matches besides 2 or 3 person per match was doing anything is very embarrassing. But the women's chamber was okay, right? It was decent. It was a decent chamber. Tag match was forgettable trash. Sami Zayn versus KO was a pretty solid match. The men's chamber had some really good moments, but also some really stupid and bad moments. And then the Cena and Cody heel turn segment was great in the moment, but it's just about how it's going to be booked from here on out, right? The long-term effects of it. So I'd say solid or decent is a good way to describe this show. I would give it a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. And I just think that's where it stands. Nothing great, nothing elite, but it certainly wasn't bad, and it was a lot better than what I expected, which was like a 5 out of 10. So it was about 2 points higher than that. So I'll take it. Let me know what you think of the swerve and everything with the craziness happening in tonight's show. And as always, I thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace out and one love.